So Elon Musk said something about if people don't stand up for what is good and right, Christianity will disappear, or something along those leftist activist ideological lines. Facts and the truth aren't up for democratic debate. It's like after the debate, the truth doesn't get changed. Only among people whose truth is imaginary is this even possible. And it's because we're carrying around all of this information we have faith in that we have no ability to verify on our own. And, yeah, you can point out something, oh, I can verify. Most of the information we carry around with us, we cannot verify on our own. The stuff that we carry around that we think makes us more intelligent than the people who might have been around previously, even though we can only juggle as many ideas as anybody else ever has. And we're just as likely to become overwhelmed and confused when you're trying to carry around a whole bunch of information you can't verify as truth. And among those people who are doing that and thinking that way, it can seem like logical debates are going on, but it's all meaningless and pointless. Anybody who actually knows the truth wouldn't risk themselves around a society like that because it's not safe. It's like being Alice in Wonderland. As soon as everyone notices you're different, or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that's another great example. But Invasion of the Body Snatchers shows the sinisterness of hiding among society, and it's like it might be like the aliens hiding among society, but at the end it was the humans who were hiding among society. And that's what I usually am thinking of when I think of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, is the end, what it was like at the end for the humans. So that's what it's like for people who actually know the truth. The truth is always the truth. And the thing about Christianity is it's been run by a bunch of people with the same minds as people who live by imagination. And it's the same logic that Elon Musk is also pulling from, is what screwed up Christianity and turned it into a cult. Basically a sex cult. A greedy, selfish, genetically obsessed sex cult. A slavery cult is what it really is. It's what needs to be in order for slavery to exist, is that kind of mindset. Humans aren't that complicated. They can seem complicated to themselves, just like, we can seem like we're being logical when we're only talking to people who also hold imaginary truths that they don't actually know. And religion falls into that category. Religion, when you're a human who's connected to God, like all humans are supposed to be, like all of nature is, like all of reality is, when you haven't had the feeling of that connection broken from you, from enlightening, leading suffering, that starts from literal infancy. What was I going to say? I can't remember now. So when we're connected or aware of our connection to the Creator, our lives are more like those in the old parts of the Bible, like with Moses and Solomon and David and all that. Where you don't question the nature of God, because all you have to do is look within yourself, and the nature of God is there. All the information you need to know about God is there and always is there. And the actual true parts of the Bible explain that. Jesus explained that. Moses lived it. And Jesus talked about Moses. What Jesus was doing was he was trying to bring back real Jewish religion, basically the same way I'm describing it. It happens within yourself. Religion is what your history is when you aren't disconnected from the creator. And everybody has a different religion. Everyone has a different relationship with the creator. Everyone's going to have, especially if they're separated for a long time, they're going to have different names. Although, based on what I've learned, a lot of things carry on for a long time because we're all connected, and I don't mean like, spiritually. I mean, literally, we're all related to each other. The, the contact and survivability rates have made it so that most people who are around have some kind of uh, genealogical connection back to societies where we all had the same language or languages that were much closer to each other. Eventually going back to the same languages, and other different languages, didn't survive for one reason or another. Usually it's assimilation. So, because it's easier to speak the same language if you're going to live together. And people always decide on their own which ones they're going to speak, typically. It's whatever is most common, typically. It's not rocket science, it's human nature. But anyways, that's what religion is. Religion is your history with God. It has nothing to do with the supernatural BS that we've been taught and raised by and have been force-fed to control us, including hell and all sorts of made-up crap to make the religion stronger, when in reality they're faker. They're just cults used to control people in a slave factory. So that's it. Elon Musk is not outside. There is no outside. If you're listening to this, you're inside, just like the rest of us. You're inside the slave pens with the slaves, thinking like slaves, interacting with the minds of slaves, with other slaves. All of that interaction reinforces the slave mindset. We believe it's freedom. We fight for our slavery and call it freedom, because real people with real religions, we think, are the cults. Or by we, I mean people like Bill Gates and all the people who seem to be connected with Epstein, the enlightened of the brothel casino empire that we're in, literally. So, they help run the security system. They help keep an eye on all of us, which is why they always seem to be on our side. We headed off the prince that married that American, before he got to jump on that train. But the train is still strong, and it's filled with a bunch of people that the general public look up to and think are friends of theirs, when in reality they're just house N-words, keeping everybody in line and keeping everybody from knowing how they're used. All the things that we all agreed on decades ago about how countries and people are allowed to treat each other. Constitution be damned. It's like, they want to replace the Constitution with a bunch of laws made for chaotic anarchists that wouldn't follow them at all. They just, they whine about, they don't follow them because no one else follows them like everyone else, because we're not in a normal society, so, it can change any way people whine about it wanting to be, but it's not actually going to get any better. It's just going to make you feel like it's getting better for a little while. That's why nobody trusted the whole Trump thing, which I understand. But, that's just the way it is. Trump's one of them. And by them, I mean the people who think that they hate him. He's one of them. He's a better version of them than they could ever imagine. And they don't even know it because they don't actually care about other people that much. They don't think anybody's that good, or can be that good in this society. But Trump has always been very generous. He's Trump. He's a New Yorker. You know, not all New Yorkers are psychopaths. A lot of them are. That's how it runs. It's a everything you can think of trafficking hub, to say the least. You know, uh, it's one of the locations that got taken over by, back when people used to come to America and be happy to be American and be welcomed into America and, would assimilate immediately into American culture and the Constitution, all that stuff. And then it became very British, very systematic, and allowing a lot of dirt bags into the equation. And then it became more of a human trafficking thing than a real freedom and a blessing. But I mean, those transitions from a real republic to an empire take a while, and it's like boiling a frog. Slowly. It doesn't notice at all until it's too late. And that's the way we are too. We don't notice these things until it's too late because, a lot of times we don't see it coming. It happens in subcultures and then it becomes popular among the popular, and then it spreads, becomes pop culture. So, we've got a bunch of subcultures that are actually megacultures and part of the main culture that runs everything. They're not actually subcultures at all. It's like when they say shit about the patriarchy. It's not a patriarchy, unless you count pimps, but there's females in there too. You know, it's a hotriarchy. It's a pimpriarchy. It's an extremist version of capitalism and slavery. Where people are seen as objects to buy and sell. Where they can modify our genes with trademark genes, and then suddenly we have their trademark, and suddenly we're all owned by Microsoft, and then they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, with experimenting on us with different whatever they want, whatever they want, and it all comes down to, does anybody like you? And if nobody likes you, well, they can do even more to you. So, it's like my first thing that I tried doing was raising people's market value so they wouldn't be sacrificed as easily. But the sacrifices must be made, and then the pandemic and the wars started. So that's where that went. It's like that, or everyone not knowing they're being taken out of the life equation. Because they didn't work hard enough, because they were classified as being degenerates, when they were very young, and they were pushed into loserdom. A lot of people were pushed into loserdom. The only reason I wasn't pushed into loserdom is because I wasn't ugly. Girls were attracted to me, way before I even knew it. That's literally the only reason I wasn't sacrificed like a retard. I was treated like a retard by my family members, but not by anybody else. So they're always surprised when things are not retarded in my life. So, or when I succeed at things, it's why I don't talk to them. It's been like that my whole life. But I mean, I used to talk to them every once in a long while, but I never really. They were like strangers. Anyways, I'm going on tangents. Anyways, good luck, everybody. We're screwed because we're led by idiots. Because we let ourselves be led by idiots. Because we don't want to live regular lives, and we don't know how to, because we weren't raised to. We were raised to need these people who screw everyone around us to prove how much everyone's just a big old sex worker. Even though they start doing that when you're like around 7, just throw that out there, and then you find out it's everywhere all the time, so It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. The truth is crazy. Anyways, especially when you're not like playing those reindeer games. So, good luck, everybody. Seriously. God's on our side, but we're not immortal either. The goal isn't us living. It's like, because who's us? Ukrainians, Russians, Israelis, Palestinians. How are they doing? How is all of this progress helping them survive? Or are they always going to be examples to everybody to show how bad religion is? As the religions were run by sex traders to control everybody for decades, centuries in a lot of places in the world. Anyway, love y'all. Good luck.